Sanders.
Watch this big guy right here, Landon Dickerson. They really think he's going to be special. He's played center in college. You put him and Jordan Mailata on one side, Jason Kelsey inside. I'd run that way too.
It's the quarter the Eagles do so much damage. Jake Elliott injured his ankle, missed the Arizona game. He's back in the lineup.
Hey everybody, good evening. It is 6:30 straight up, and if you're new here, my name is Joel Pogar. I will be your host and moderator for the evening. This is the third CFOA meeting of the 2022 season. Most likely will be the last regular season meeting. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items before we get started tonight. So we will be doing some live polling this evening. If you are in the app or if you are online via WebEx, via browser or something like that, you will be able to participate in the polls. When we launch them, they will be on the right side of your screen. And then if there's any problems during the meeting, these meeting formats we've had relatively few problems. Only one or two people that seem to have problems getting in. Right now, we've got over 90 people online in these sessions. So this virtual format seems to be pretty well or working pretty well. But if you have any problems, I don't know that I can help you during the meeting. And you can try and text me if you want, but I don't know that I'll be able to get to it if you have an issue. So with that said, we want to run on time tonight. I will be the moderator, the presenter, police for the evening and trying to keep everybody on time. So without further ado, Matt, I'm going to turn it over to you. Matt?
Yep, I'm here.
All right.
All right, so we're going to talk about the top 5 missed mechanics questions. PowerPoint will work. All right, so this is number 5, 19%. I'm not going to read the question. You guys can read it real quick. This is actually a big one. So on a 21-yard run, a runner approaches a goal line and is tackled. The back judge signals touchdown. The nearest wing is certain the ball had not broken the plane of the goal line when the runner was down. The wing official should run to the dead ball spot and tap the ground, indicating the runner was down. Go to the back judge and tell him what he saw. Go to the referee and tell him what he saw. Do nothing unless the back judge asks him. So the correct answer is go to the back judge and tell him what he saw. And it's in the Mechanics Manual Amendments under conflicting calls. And here's a play, if it will work. But anyway, the point of this, it's not going to work. The point of that is, it's common sense. We don't want to try to out crewmate. If he signals touchdown, that's his touchdown. We go offer him information. Hey, I'm pretty sure the runner was down here, and let him make up his mind and come to an answer, whether he's sure or if we're going to go with the touchdown. And this is a question further on down the line, but if we can't come to an agreement, then the referee has to come in and make a decision. And that's all covered in the amendments and the conflicting calls. So on to number 4, one. If the referee and umpire confirm 11 players on offense, the crew signal A. The linesman and line judge need to only check for more than 4 in the backfield. And that is true. And that is on the Mechanics Manual Amendments, page 20. So that was a change that was made a couple years ago. George can correct me on the year, but that was, we can assume that if we have 4 in the backfield, that we have 11 on the field. Number 3, 21%. So this is the conflicting calls are unavoidable, and 2 officials must come together and talk about what they called. And when the stalemate results, it's up to the referee to come to a final decision. And that's on the Mechanic Manual Amendments, page 8 to 11. And just so everybody knows, whoever's on this call, these questions are word for word of manual for the amendments. So question number 2, which of the following statements is not correct? When in doubt as to a trapped or caught pass, the pass is complete. That is on page 113 of the manual. And I wrote that wrong because it's actually incomplete. The pass is incomplete is what that should read on my slide, so my apologize. And the number 1 most missed question. When a player, either offense or defense, is departing the field and the snap is imminent, the back judge is responsible for determining if player was on the field of the snap. Such a player is off the field if his next step would be out of bounds. Any questions or comments, you can email, call me. But like I say, these are word for word out of the mechanics manual and the amendments beside my clerical error. Do we want to go on to my next one, George, or do we want to do?
Yeah, continue on, Matt. I have you listed as having the second topic as well, so you're good.
All right, so I got to find my next one. I had them both open in the background, and this is different the way it's popping up on here. All right, go on to somebody else, Joel, because mine's not working.
All right, George, I've got you up next. Do you want to go, and then we can come back to Matt if necessary?
Sure. So I click share.
Correct. I will make you the presenter. All right, you have the presenter privileges, George.
Okay. So guys, I am going to take one play that
Don't have your screen, George.
on screen.
Now you got it. Now you're good.
Okay. So I'm going to take one play that happened during the season and kind of talk through it. This one play has like 5 or 6 different lessons regarding rules knowledge, mechanics, and crew communication. So we'll begin by showing the play, and I will end up showing it several times. So here's the play. The pass is going to be thrown to the top of the screen. We're going to watch option on this guy here, where he was was blocked on the line of scrimmage. Okay, so that's the play in question. So now let's talk about it. And you'll see some of this when I show the play again. But the first thing I wanted to point out is the referee should be wider on this play. That was not a factor in the play and had nothing to do with the call, but that's something that could be improved mechanically. The umpire was a factor in this play. He was 7 yards deep, which is an old mechanic, and our mechanics manual calls for the umpire to be as close to the line of scrimmage as the linebackers will allow him to be. In this play, it would have been 4 yards deep. You don't want to get right behind the linebacker so that he hits you with his first few steps, and you just want to be a little bit wider so that in his initial movement doesn't make contact. The initial umpire movement, he should be reading pass, and he should move up as quickly as he can to the line of scrimmage. And that is one of the benefits playing as close as the players will allow you to do, because you can get to the line of scrimmage and rule on whether or not the pass crossed the neutral zone. He should have moved towards the line, and as you'll see, I don't think he even took a half a step towards the line. Okay, the flag came out of the linesman. I'll point it out when we replay the video. And the flag was for offensive pass interference on the block that I pointed out to you. The next thing that happened is the linesman quit officiating after his flag. He did not move downfield, and he did not know where the play ended. Likewise, the back judge did not cover for him. The forward progress spot does not belong to the back judge, but hopefully with a crew that has a good relationship, he would have recognized that the linesman did not come downfield and would have at least noted where the out of bounds spot was. So the result of the play was that nobody knew the dead ball spot. And as I said, the linesman knew he had a flag, so he didn't really care where the dead ball spot was because he never thought it would come into play. So our analysis, the flag was incorrect, but it's okay. He saw a block downfield, and at the time, he did not recognize whether the pass crossed the neutral zone or not. So that flag is okay. But then somebody on the crew, which by our mechanics is the umpire, needs to tell him that the pass did not cross the neutral zone and the flag would be picked up. Throwing a flag for the contact and picking it up is perfectly permissible mechanics, okay? And that's what the second bullet says, is that fouls that are dependent on passes crossing the neutral zone can be picked up after a crew discussion. And the pass did not, which means the pass did not cross the neutral zone, which means the block was legal. If the pass had crossed the neutral zone, the block would technically be illegal. I don't think you would have seen that block if that play was designed to cross the neutral zone, but that's a separate point. Okay, crew communication, and this is really where we had a breakdown. The line judge knew that the pass did not cross neutral. He ran across the field and told that to the linesman. And the referee was aware that the two wings disagreed. And the referee told them to figure it out and did not participate in the discussion. The linesman refused to pick up the flag, and he explained two things. One, he didn't know where he would put the ball if he picked up his flag, and he didn't want to explain why the flag was picked up to the coach. Referee accepted the linesman's decision without questioning it or speaking to the line judge. So that is how we get a mistake made on the field. You can see all the things that could have taken place that would have gotten that flag picked up as it should. So now let's look at this play one more time. We can look at it. Let's see, let's just get that. Okay. So here they are lining up, and we can see that the referee is almost dead center in the field. He should probably be out here somewhere. Okay. And then let's let it run a little bit. Then here is our umpire. He is 7 yards deep. On the play. He does take a little step forward. Then he turns and watches the play. So let's back it up and take a look at where the pass is caught. We can see the pass is caught a good 3 yards behind the neutral zone. Okay, and then we can see that the flag gets thrown, and he stops the play. Very slowly moves downfield, takes the ball back. Nobody pays attention to where play ended. So that's the lesson. Kind of Murphy's Law. If things can go wrong, they will go wrong. See the start of the discussion here. And that concludes my portion of the presentation tonight. If there are any questions, please shoot them over to Joel and address them.
Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat window, George. And then Matt, do we want to go back to you?
Ready, Matt?
Okay, can you hear me?
You got you now.
Yep.
I don't know why it's not letting me show my presentation, but anyway, so we're going to talk about.
We can see your presentation, Matt, just so you know, it's up there.
You can see what?
Your presentation, it's up there.
All right. So we're going to talk about sideline warnings and unsportsmanlike conduct and the differences between the two. So in a perfect world, this is what we would hope our sidelines look like. Nobody's in our restricted area. And then we have a coach. So how do we handle this? A warning, a verbal warning. Coach, work with me, stay back for your safety and mine. If not, our first real warning is a flag where the referee announces it. The second is a flag and a 5-yard penalty. And the third is a flag and 15 yards charge of the head coach. And the fourth is 15 yards and the ejection of the head coach. Now, don't get this confused with contact with any player or non-player or coach in the restricted area. That's a completely different foul. Don't get confused. Being yelled at by a coach, the sideline warning is not a tool to use when the coach is out of line. It's okay to use a verbal warning, coach. I hear you. I hear what you're saying. We're moving on. But don't take abuse nor let your sidelines get out of control with comments. So any comments, you suck, you're terrible, this is the worst officiating crew I've ever seen, anything that is direct to language, that is a flag and a automatic unsportsmanlike conduct charge to the head coach. We don't take abuse. This is not a sideline warning. We do not take abuse and throw a flag and give a sideline warning, because that's what we've been seeing a lot of. It's two completely different things. So
Hey,
know
Matt.
that, yeah.
Matt, I do have a question for you. So, as a wing, if you've got your back to the bench and you hear one of those comments that you just talked about, you suck, right? But you can't identify who it comes from. So there's three coaches behind you. Who do you tag that to?
So everybody, so this is a whole other conversation to have, but everybody has their level of what they will take or what they'll listen to, what they hear, and I understand that. And in that situation, is he talking to, and this is what I do, is he talking to his teammate? Is he talking to me? Is he talking, who's he talking to? I don't know. And I'm pretty much going to let that go. If a coach is going to get a UNS from me, he's going to get, have to be like directly screaming in my ear and telling me, Matt, you suck, you're terrible. And I'm going to, but that level that of, but we all have different communication skills in that aspect. And so as a younger official, I don't put up with it, flag it. And I guarantee you that that's the last time you're going to hear from anything on that sideline. And that's one of the easier ways to take care of that stuff. And we should not tolerate anything. You guys shouldn't tolerate what I tolerate.
Okay, what Matt said is the way we want it to go. To answer your question, Joel, it is permissible to throw a flag and walk off a penalty against the team without charging it to an individual when you don't know who the individual is. What we don't want is the foul to be charged to the head coach because the perpetrator cannot be identified. That we don't want, but you can call a foul on the team in general.
Got it. Thanks. That's what I was asking, George. If you didn't know who said it because your back was to him, but definitely something was said, that answers the question.
Correct. Any other questions on that one? And then this is just the next slide, is just my dream, what I would do if we got to do this every time we had a good call. And that's all I have.
All right. So getting back to the schedule, Scott Saki, you're going to be up next. And let me just pass the presenter privileges to you. All right, Scott, you are the presenter. You can share your screen now.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Can you see the screen?
Not yet.
Still no?
Nope. Share button right down in the middle. Click share, and then just it'll ask you what you want to share. And you just say your screen. There you go. Now we got it. It's up there.
It's a double share click.
Yep. There you go.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to talk about the veteran test, top 5 missed questions. This is the third time someone has spoke about tests. A month ago, Scott Lewis talked about the playoff test. Matt talked about the mechanics test a little bit ago. And this is our third of 3 tests that we distribute. But the veteran test is primarily used for our new officials. We keep it open all year long. But we also use the veteran test for some officials who have no desire to work playoffs. And there are some around the state. They're just satisfied with officiating regular season football and have no interest in playoffs. And taking this test, along with the mechanics test, will allow them to officiate regular season football. the veterans test is primarily NFHS questions. They're more fundamental questions. And with that said, it is a good idea to maybe after you take your veterans or playoff test and your mechanics test is hop in here and take this test. It's nothing wrong with leaving it alone or taking half of it or taking all of it, seeing what your score is. But because of the fundamentals of the veteran test, it's a good way to capture extra knowledge for yourself. So we'll get started with the fifth most missed question, and it's dealing with our new rule this year regarding intentional grounding. A running back who has received a handoff from a quarterback can legally ground the ball if he throws it anywhere beyond the neutral zone extended. And before we get to the answer, I want to say this is a good question for not reading something into the question that is not in the question. It's one thing to watch a video and you got all of the things in front of you very apparently, but when it comes to test questions, we should not be reading something that is not in there. And I'm saying that because I think that might be part of the reason this was missed so much. But the answer to this is true. With this new rule, to legally conserve yardage, a passer has to be beyond the lateral boundary of the free blocking zone or 4 yards of either side of the snap, and the pass reaches the neutral zone, including the extension beyond the sideline. Before we get further into the answer, neutral zone extension is a brand new term this year. We've had goal line extension, so don't get extension confused with neutral zone expansion. Expansion goes the length of the field toward your own goal or the opponent's goal line. Neutral zone extension goes through the sidelines laterally, indefinitely. So neutral zone extension is a brand new term with this intentional grounding concept. So the question says, can a running back who has received a handoff legally ground the ball if he throws it anywhere beyond the neutral zone extended? And the answer is true. Now, the question doesn't talk about the lateral aspect of needing to be accomplished. So therefore, don't read into the question anything about the lateral extension. The question is just simply asking, can a running back who received a handoff from a quarterback legally ground the ball? And as long as he gets it beyond the neutral zone extended, it is legal. So I think what happened here with the most missed is people were trying to read part A into the question and said, I don't see anything about the lateral extension. So again, it's the way you read a question, don't read more into it than what is being asked. Okay, the fourth most missed question. On second down, Team A recovers a fumble. The ball is spotted and the referee blows the ready with a 25-second play clock and starts the game clock. So we had a running play. There was a fumble. And the fact that the question is stating that the referee is going to blow the ready means that the crew shut the play down for some reason to maybe ascertain what the fumble. So they probably determined A recovered, it's going to be third down. The fact that the play was shut down as far as the clock is concerned, it is true. And 25 seconds will be on the play clock and start on the ready for play signal following the stoppage of the play clock by the referee for any other reason. The reasons A through F talk about tries and kicks and inadvertent whistles and a few other things. But G, the last one, says if it's none of the other things, following the stoppage of the play clock by the referee for any other reason. So there was an administrative stoppage here. The crew shut the play down, a running play. So the clock was already running. They shut the game clock down. So we know that the game clock has to be restarted. And the fact that it was an administrative stoppage means we will go to a 25-second play clock. Remember, whenever we reset a play clock, we never reset to 40, with the exception of the new rule this year that says, according to our acronym HEFID, HEFID, helmet, equipment, injury, or fouls by the defense, HEFID, is the only time we reset to 40 seconds. Well, none of that applies here. So it is true that because it was a running play, a fumble, they determined A, retained the ball. We will start the game clock on the ready and apply a 25-second play clock. Third most missed, if a touchback, it is a touchback if A1 fumbles on B's 5-yard line and B's muff forces the ball, loose ball into Team B's end zone and out of bounds beyond the end line. So the thing that we read here is it's not A's force. The question is specifically saying B's muffed force was what got the ball into the end zone. So with that, it is false. It is a safety when a player forces, in this case B, a loose ball from the field of play to or across his goal line, and the ball is out of bounds when it becomes dead. So this is the second question where you don't want to read something more into it. I'm thinking that they were possibly thinking A had the original force and there could have been enough force to have gotten that ball into the end zone, but the question specifically says B's muff forced the loose ball into their own end zone. The second most missed question, the ground cannot cause a fumble. This rarely happens. In fact, many of you may go your entire career and never see this situation. It is a rare event. But if we look at the answer, that is false. The ground can cause a fumble. And if we look at Rule 2, a fumble is any loss of player possession other than by handing, passing, or legal kick. So if any one of those three things are not happening, it is a fumble. Then in Rule 4, it says the ball becomes dead and the down is ended when a runner allows any part of his person other than hand or foot to touch the ground. So if only hand or foot is touching the ground, the ball is still live, and we can best demonstrate this with a video. And it's ancient because they're in stripes and in knickers. Okay, I'm going to play it one more time and I'm going to stop it at a spot here. Okay, so the runner has only his feet touching the ground and the ball is touching the ground. So it's still live because no other part of the body is touching the ground. And if we continue on, we can see that the ground caused the fumble. Again, this is a very rare situation, and don't be surprised if you never see it. Okay, the number one most missed question, The enforcement spot for any foul by the defense is the previous spot when Team A's run ends behind the neutral zone. Well, that's false because 10.4.4 is very simply stated. The basic spot is the spot where the related run ends for a foul which occurs during a running play as it defined in 10.3.2. So this is not a loose ball play, which kind of makes the question say that go back to the previous spot. This is a running play. The basic spot for a run is where the run ended. And that is my presentation.
All right, Mr. Russell, I believe you are up next, and we are exactly 5 minutes ahead of schedule. So you've got a couple extra minutes.
Oh boy, that can be a problem.
You let me know, by the way, when you're ready for your polls. And so just to give everybody a heads up, we will have some poll questions here. I will launch the polls when Kirk tells me to. They will show up on your screen if you're in the app or on the web portion.
All right, Joel, confirm that I've got a play on the screen.
I can see a play on the screen.
Okay, good start. Go back to my first one. All right, so great presentations, gentlemen. Thank you. Glad to have you all online tonight. Can you believe we're already 2 games away from the end of the regular season? It's crazy how quick it goes right at the end. All right, I've got 2 topics I want to talk about, and I got a few clips of each. And the first one I want to talk about is forward progress, and this happens to be a game from last year. It made the 9 News highlight thing, so I was able to capture a good film angle for this run. So what we've got is A is in white. They're snapping it from the 1-yard line. We're going to see the quarterback try a quarterback sneak. And you can see he didn't cross the goal line. I'll give you that conclusion. The Wings did not see him cross the goal line, but you can see my question for you all is, do we blow this dead, or do we have a fumble and a ball recovered by B headed the other direction? And so,
Is this your first poll?
Joel, I'm going to let you put that poll up, and I'll keep running this if that's possible.
Yep. And so there's the poll question. You should be able to select one of the 2 answers that Kirk has got there. So right now, Kirk, 80% are saying fumble. It's 50-50. Still votes coming in, leaning towards fumble.
Can we give one of those Jeopardy sounds? Can you play one of Jeopardy sounds so they know when the poll's closed?
I actually might. Hang on.
Oh, I'm kidding.
Oh, I actually might.
You want me to do it?
I got a drum. There's a drum.
All right, we're going to call it right there. What do you got?
All right,
me?
so it's almost it was almost split. So somebody just voted. It's 59% fumble, 41% kill it for forward progress.
Wow. Okay, well, that surprises me. I will tell you this play live, and I am the umpire in this case, and I see virtually nothing in this action. We did talk about it. I will share this with you. Let's keep in mind from a mechanic standpoint, one of the best views of this is the referee. We talk about how the referee has the best view of action behind the line of, or forward progress behind the line of scrimmage. He certainly gets help from the wings. And in this case, I don't know if you can tell, but let me stop it here, where the far wing, you can see him, he's aggressive, trying to get a view. He's got players in his way, and he wants to get to a point where he can see this action. And so he's already crashed in, which we don't typically encourage. We want you to stay on that goal line till the end of the play. His action of coming in right here might indicate that he had forward progress stopped, but I think he's probably just looking for some information, because I think he lost the ball. I will tell you that the crew, if it's not obvious, the crew let this play stand going back to the 34-yard line. And what I think the message I want to share with the group is we talk about forward progress. It has nothing to do with the churning legs, which is really hard to ignore in this particular play. You can see the legs are driving. That's somewhat irrelevant. It's really about progress. If you were to look at where the ball is, did it stop making any progress at all? And maybe there's an argument that it did. I will share with this group that we had no comments from the coaching staff of the visiting team here. If anything, the coach yelled at his quarterback, "You gotta hang on to the football." It's almost like coaches know when in doubt, you lose that ball in a pile like that, it's understood. Not saying that that's how we should rule this. We should be looking for forward progress. And if forward progress is stopped, then that's not a fumble. And it has nothing to do with the churning legs. If that ball was not moving forward any longer, the problem is I think our wings probably had trouble seeing if that was true or not. So no surprise that we're 50-50 on that. I did see Conklin's comment there, no cheap turnovers, and one might consider this such. The crew did come together and we let the play stand as a fumble. All right, play number 2, and I'll have a poll after this. Many of you saw this on the weekly bulletin, and I want to talk a little bit more about it and throw up the poll for everybody in case you didn't vote on the weekly poll on the bulletin that went out a couple weeks ago. So I'm going to set this up. Ball is snapped from the 10. 1st and 10 from the 10-yard line coming out. Quarterback's going to hand the ball off to a running back who kind of gets slinged into the end zone, never really has an opportunity to recover from that. And so the question we're going to throw out on the poll here is, and I'll run it back, you can all watch it again. Handoff, hit by the defensive end, thrown into the end zone, and then tackled into the end zone. And so the question is, are we going to have a forward progress spot or a safety? So Joel, I'm going to have you put that one on the screen for us.
All right, that poll is open, and a couple of you have said you can't see the poll. If you have a tab out there called Slido, that's where it is. So either in the iPhone app or on the browser, there should be a little tab off to the right where you can do a drop down that says Slido, S-L-I-D-O. That's where you're going to find the poll. And right now, a bunch of votes have come in. Kirk, we're almost to 70 votes, and 95% are saying forward progress spot. Less than 10% say safety right now.
I'm going to go ahead and accept that as, what do they say on election night? We're going to decide that one, or we're going to confirm that vote and check it in the forward progress box. I totally can support the forward progress. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this play. You can see the crew. We play this out to the spot where it ends here. Referee, good position the whole time. You can see him pointing right now, and I've stopped this. If you take a look in the right side of your screen, the wing comes in with a forward progress spot. I don't know if he blew the whistle. I think he did. I actually think there was a whistle, which was the indication to the white hat that he did have forward progress. I think maybe some, if we're that confident, we should show confidence in our ruling. And, maybe in this case, maybe some hard whistles from that wing at the top side to say, I've got forward progress. Look at me. I have no doubt I got forward progress. Hopefully there was no doubt in this. I suppose there could be. I like the forward progress in this case. One complication in this, and Scott Novak shared this with us the other night, is when we talk about forward progress in an open field tackle, we really like to see control. And in this case, did that tackler control the runner? He certainly throws him backwards, lets him go, kind of slings him backwards instead of making the tackle. Might just be natural not to take him all the way to the ground and get an unsportsmanlike conduct. I like the forward progress call in this case. I think this is a correct call. The runner never was able to reestablish himself He was thrown backwards. I think we got to give him progress that he earned in this case, and you can see that wing at the top side is signaling I've got forward progress up here. All is good, and then you can see the white hat look at the sideline and say, "All right, coach, that's enough. I heard you." Right here, he says, "Coach, I need you back in the coach's box. Get back, get back, get back." Good job. So good job, crew. We all agree with this one. I think that's a good ruling. All right, next play. This one's kind of unique in that it's a punt play, and you know I want to remind everybody. I say this regularly. When is the progress spot significant? When is it critical? When is it significant? I don't think I've ever heard, I've been doing this for 30 some years, I've never heard a coach tell me or the crew that was a horrible spot on a punt return. I think we obviously want to get it right, but I think if we get within 2 yards, the coach doesn't care. It's not a situation that requires a critical and specific forward progress spot. But I'm going to use this play as a forward progress example conversation for a poll. So,
Hey, Kirk, can I interrupt you real fast?
Yeah, please, Matt.
Look at the bottom of the screen on our sideline.
Oh, yeah, your message loud and clear. Clean up the sideline. Don't wait till the third quarter here
And the referee down here at the bottom, I don't know who he's talking to, but
yeah, he's got a lot of traffic in that space. So yeah, good catch.
Right.
Welcome to the Denver metro area, Matt. We've got 40 coaches and all of them want to be in that box. All right, so ignore the fact that this number 45 is coming on the field late and never gets set. There should have been a flag for that, for an illegal shift. So try to ignore that. Ignore the fact that you might even get him with a blindside block there. But what I want to talk about is this forward progress spot. What do we want to do with this? And so I'm going to have Joel put up the poll here. I'm going to take it back. Really, I'm focused on the return. And imagine that this is a running play. We see it sometimes coming into the line of scrimmage. So imagine this is a running play. He gets hit here at the 35-yard line, pulls out, really never establishes himself again to go forward. And so my question on the poll is, do you want this progress at the 35 right? Let's call it the 35 right there, or you want progress right there on the second grab and tackle? So Joel, go ahead and throw that up there.
Poll is open. We got about 50 votes in right now, Kirk. It's about 80-20, 80% on the 35-yard line.
So I think those of you that haven't voted yet, or you're not voting, I think I like this, given this runner everything he has earned. And a lot of times the problem with this type of forward progress ruling is the next question out of an official's mouth is, well, what if he fumbled this ball when he pulled his leg out? What if he fumbled right there? What if that ball came out? Are we going to go with a loose ball, or do we have a forward progress spot? I'm not going to pull that, but that's a lot of times the subsequent question. And George has given us some good guidance in the past. When you have forward progress, and I'll even think back to that goal line play, when the first contact that stops the forward progress, where you rule forward progress, that's the ball jarring hit. If you have a hit subsequent to that contact, after forward progress has been established, now you've got a cheap fumble, a cheap turnover. So we want to make it clear that when you decide what forward progress moment is, and that hit that created that forward progress, any subsequent hit on the player and contact on the ball should not be allowed to allow that ball to be now fumbled. So we really want that initial contact to jar the ball loose, nothing after that. So sounds like we're about 80-20. I certainly would support the 35-yard line-ish right here, and not take him back to the 30. And again, it's a punt play. No argument from the sideline wherever you spot this, but I do like that forward progress spot. All right, we're going to shift into, sorry, this is just another play. My next topic, I want to talk a little bit
Eric,
about.
excuse me.
Yeah.
You just got a question about something we discussed, and whoever it was that wrote it in said he doesn't see control. You don't need control to stop forward progress. You just need to stop the runner from moving forward, and you don't have to have control. So that's the answer to that one.
Yeah, I think I did throw in that word control. And we also can factor in whether the runner gives up. There's situations where the runner gives up his attempt to go forward anymore, and that's got to be a factor in our judgment as well. All right, I'm going to move to dealing with blindside blocks. And this first play, I think you're all gonna go, oh yeah, this is why this blindside block rule was put into effect. The blindside block rule says it's a block against an opponent other than a runner who does not see the blocker approaching. I'm highlighting here this wing official. I think we've all, as officials, seen the glow in the eyes of a potential blocker. So here, this blocker in blue that I have circled, he's got that look, that kind of those eyes that are like, I am going to light this blankety blank up as he's approaching. And I like how this wing, we always talk about, don't look at nothing as an official. Don't officiate air. Is there any threat on the ball here? Absolutely none. Our eyes should be in front of the runner looking for potential blindside block, or in some of this other area around this play, blocks in the back, things like that. So here this wing is correctly looking at this potential blindside block, and sure enough, lights him up. And I run this play for you all because the coach sent it to me via huddle and said, right there, you can see he braced himself. He saw this block coming. And I don't agree with that assessment here. Just because he saw it at the last second does not eliminate the need to protect that guy. This blocker lined him up and wanted to blow him up in an illegal fashion. And here we see it. Not bubbles are flying. Great flag. You see the sideline now. They're all elated. And then you got number 20 down here. He wants to be a football official someday. He'll help us out and say, no way. No way. That's not a foul. That's a great hit. Blah, blah, blah. Great call here. That's the one that we want to get. And we always talk about mechanics being a critical element in catching these blindside blocks. We should not be watching ball. We've got to be watching the action. And you can see players going the wrong, or swimming upstream, and they're going to take advantage of their momentum and light somebody up. That's the ones we've got to get. Now I'm going to talk about some challenging plays. First one I want to show you is, and in breaking these down, I'm going to show you some of these crackback blocks. And so we're going to look at the near side wideout, and he's going to take a crackback block at a linebacker coming into the backfield. Okay, we're again looking at this near wideout, and this is going to get real technical, and I'm not sure that we have all of the tools in our toolbox to make sure we catch these, and I'm going to show you some plays where I don't believe they should be a foul. This one, I believe we should have 100% voting. This is a blindside block. It's an illegal crackback blindside block. We've got a linebacker and we've got a wideout that hits a player who is not paying attention to that potential blocker and knocks his block off. We need a flag on that one. And that one was missed. So now I want to show you, just coincidentally, I had a play in the library. This is unique in that the play is going to go away from us. So the quarterback is going to throw the ball to the opposite side. Not something you typically see, but we've got a blindside block away from the point of attack, in essence, and this needs to be flagged. It is a safety type foul, and this needs to be called regardless of the fact that that ball was thrown to the other side of the field. I'll take it back, and you guys can see this wideout again line up somebody outside the free blocking zone, lines him up, blows him up, we should have a blindside block flag on that play. And it's not going to be easy to pick up because we've got wings that are going to start reading pass and they're looking into the defensive backfield. This might be tough to pick up, but remember, even away from a play, a blindside block is still a foul. Okay, so hopefully we have 100% on that. Now I'm going to show you what the rule book and this blindside block rule really hopes to get into the game. And I remember when the blindside block rule came out, I felt like, geez, you're taking away an opportunity for maybe even a smaller player to light up a bigger player with a surprise hit. So rule 943N says execute a blindside block outside the free blocking zone with forceful contact unless initiated with open hands. Perfect. We love this block. If we could get this into the game more often, and so I wish coaches maybe had this clip to say, wideout, this is what we're looking for. And I would hope we would never flag this because this is the open hands block that we absolutely don't want to flag. He used the open hands, didn't use his shoulder at all. A lot of times we get that T-Rex arms in there where somebody lights him up, but yet he acted like his hands were somehow in the contact, but in reality it was all shoulder and hip. This is a perfect block for a crackback type block. So that's what we're looking for, and we should never flag that one. All right, now I'm going to get to where I think I'm going to get a little more technical on crackback blocks. So here we're going to see a man in motion, and he's going to make contact with an engaged defensive tackle or D end here. So we've got a D end. Oh, a pulling. So we got a pulling guard. Number 56 pulls, makes contact, and now our crackback block is making contact on a defensive lineman. Now he's doing it legally in front, and I believe we leave this one alone. I would like no foul on this play for two reasons. It is in the free blocking zone at the contact. And I'm saying that because he is a defensive lineman. And I don't believe a flag comes out of this one. And I believe it's natural for us not to flag this because it is a defensive lineman. When you're in that free blocking zone as a D lineman, you should expect to get hit like that. So I've got no foul on this. I've got an offensive player engaged with him, contact, but it was in the free blocking zone. I don't believe the free blocking zone had dissolved at this point in time. I'm going to say good, no foul here.
So question came in, Kirk, but the player coming in is not in the free blocking zone. Does that matter?
In this case, George can answer this, but I'm going to say it doesn't matter. It does not require both players to be in the free blocking zone at the snap. This rule is a little bit different. You support that, George?
Yeah, the rule is not thoroughly written, but all that business of the free blocking zone disintegrated and all that, that was only for low blocks. For blindside blocks, they expect these type blocks to take place behind the line, and they just didn't write it concisely.
Okay,
So
and then
that's
Kirk,
one of
just
the
to
reasons why we're covering this tonight, because it's logical that people would misread that. So we're trying to get the word out on that.
quick time
Go
check,
ahead,
Kirk,
Joe.
you're at 7:28, just so you know.
Gotcha. I got like two more plays, and I think I'm good to go. All right, so. Oh, this is another free blocking zone question, or not question, but free blocking zone. And again, it is on a defensive lineman. I say no foul here. And I think the distinction is it's not a linebacker. If we've got a linebacker coming in, it looks more like a crackback block. But when these guys crack back interior to the interior lineman, I've got no foul. So it's a lot of details to be watching, but I think it's going to become apparent when you got a linebacker crashing versus a defensive lineman getting hit inside. I've actually seen a play, and I was looking for it and couldn't find it, where the crackback block came all the way across the center and knocked down a defensive nose guard that came across the line of scrimmage, almost like it was a pulling guard block from a crackback block. All right, last play, and this one we're going to put the poll on, Joel.
Okay.
And so this one was in your bulletin, and this is what generated some of the conversation. We've got, and we've seen these kind of plays too, where we've got offensive linemen swimming upstream after a reverse. I'm going to back it up for you. So we've got offenses on white, shotgun formation, lineman blocks, waiting for the peel back opportunity. I want you guys to tell me if we've got a blindside block foul or no foul on this. And then I'll tell you if that lines up with what I got out of the bulletin the other day.
100% of the votes right now, Kirk, blindside block.
How many votes you got?
43. 49.
Either some
52.
people fell asleep or they
So we're over 60 votes. So now we're 94%. Yes. 6% no. 70
Wow.
votes.
Well, I will tell you, I said no blindside block, and here's why. Now, George might say no blindside block because it's in this free blocking zone space that didn't disintegrate. He's at the line of scrimmage. I've got no blindside block here because number 76 did not line up and bring his body in a momentum fashion. I think this kid got knocked to the ground because he was outsized. 76 did not. I mean, he got his hips in the block, but I will tell you, the coach, you can see him on the sideline, absolutely wants this foul called. And I'm not so sure, fellas, that I can argue. If we are at 94, 96%, I don't think I can argue against it. I got to get on the bus. We've got that kind of.
So you have
vote.
70. You have 76 votes, Kirk. 87% say that is a blindside block.
All right.
Well, he's using his hands.
No, George, I struggle with that hand. That when he brings his hands up, that's not, you can't qualify that. He put his shoulder. I think the misnomer on getting the hands in is we need to think of the hands in as the most forceful part of the contact. When a blocker like this, I can't use this hands in message here that he got his hands in. That's just absolutely bonker. He lowers his shoulder into him and then flies the hands up in it. The hands had nothing to do with it. What I want to see is like that other play. If you're going to use your hands, it is the majority of the force in the block for a blindside block to be legal. And in this case, I can't qualify this one here.
So an interesting comment came in, Kirk. It almost looks like there's a taunt even at the end of the play where he's standing over the player that he put down. So, that's another point to look at, I think.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like they're chirping at each other. Looks like the umpire addressed it. Yeah, we had a comment. He did not launch himself. I don't know that launching is anywhere near a criteria. If he launches into a blindside block, then you probably are looking at an ejection. In this case, I just struggled with this because I was a big guy and this was an easy block. And like, what am I going to do? I'm just going to stand there and take the hit myself. But hey, I cannot argue when we're at 80% BSB. So I will let the Ponderosa coach that we got this one wrong, according to the membership. So with that, that's it for my presentation.
Hey, so I just did want to address one quick thing, Kirk and or George, that may want to answer this. I promised I would try and sneak this question in if I could. So in the Broncos game the other night, as bad as that was, how the Broncos game ended, where the Broncos player was blocked into the punt returner, and there was no foul called. So we did have a question that came in asking, is there anything in the high school rules that would make that a foul? So in other words, there was no foul in the NFL game, but did anything happen? I know we don't have the clip or anything. I'm assuming a lot of people did see that. Was there anything in there in the way that play ended up that would make that a foul in high school rules?
No, the rule's pretty much the same. If you get blocked into it, that's not interference.
Okay. All right. I think we got everything addressed for the night. Thank you, everybody, for attending these 3 sessions. The recording will be available. And just a quick comment, if you are dial-in only, if you just used your cell phone and dialed in but did not use the app, please make sure that you note that to your area director. We will capture the phone number, but not the name. So make sure we know whose phone number lines up with which name. Other than that, everybody have a great rest of the season, and we'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.